Hello, friends. I keep getting asked the same question. Is it possible to buy a cheap little house in Montenegro for 20 or 30,000 euros? I always answer this question. No, you can't. After that, I usually end up in arguments. People say they've already monitored the market. They've looked at some websites and seen that such houses are available. And you say it's not possible. So does that mean the people who list them are lying? No, friends, they're not lying. Such houses really do exist on the market. But nevertheless, I believe my answer is correct that you can't buy a house for 20 or 30,000 euros. Let me show you why. Let's switch to my desktop and take a look at something. I've already selected 3 options for cheap houses. I didn't specifically search for them. I just went to a competitor's website, sorted by price, and picked the 3 cheapest houses ranging from 15 to 24,000 euros. So I want to emphasize that I didn't deliberately choose houses that were worse or better in any way. So let's take a look. The very cheapest house in the database is 15,000 euros. As you can see, you can even buy a house for just 15,000 euros. What does it have to offer? It's 40 square meters, 2 bedrooms, that is 3 rooms in total, probably 2 bedrooms plus a living room. It's a 2-story house. Let's take a close look at the photos, and in the meantime, I'll share my opinion about this house. As we can see, it really is possible to buy a cheap little house. We can see that the house has low ceilings. We can also see a lot of mold on the walls, and apparently it's impossible to get rid of it in the so-called Wonder House. The house is located 4 kilometers from the sea, so it's not suitable for renting out. The house is 2 stories, but its total area is only 40 square meters, which means each floor is tiny and not functional. Moreover, these 40 square meters are divided into several rooms. So the area of each room is minimal, you can hardly put anything in there. All in all, in my opinion, to be honest, this is just a complete disaster. I really hope that this isn't the kind of dream house you had in mind when you thought of a dream house. Although, as you can see, yes, there are such options on the market, you can buy them. If someone likes it, by all means, no problem. By the way, it's also unclear whether all the paperwork is in order. It's quite possible that the documents are a complete mess too. Let's take a look at the second house. This one is a bit more expensive, 17,000 euros. Again, let's look closely at the photos. So what does it look like? It's a 30 square meter house with a plot size of 186 square meters. Let's look at the photos, stay focused. And we see that this is yet another miracle house. Honestly, from the outside, it looks more like a garage. There are no photos of the inside of the house, which means it's such a nightmare inside that they were too embarrassed to show it to us. Let's move on to the next house. The most expensive one I picked out cost 24,000 euros. So 35 square meters, 2 bedrooms, 120 square meters, and 600 meters to the sea. Well, here's another house where they were too shy to show us the interior. Again, take a look at the photos as they flash by. But judging by the exterior, you can assume it's no better inside. 35 square meters are divided into a dining room, kitchen, 2 bedrooms, and a bathroom. Just imagine the size of each of these rooms. So, friends, these are the kinds of small, cheap houses you can buy. The only question is whether you should buy them. Therefore, despite the fact that there are cheap houses on the market, I haven't changed my opinion. You can't buy a good, cheap, small house in Montenegro. You can buy a cheap nightmare, like the ones you see in the photos. If you want to, go ahead and buy one. Back in the day, I chose a different path. I also had 20,000 euros. I didn't make a fuss when I came to Montenegro. I had 20,000 euros. I didn't panic about having to buy something with that money. I understood perfectly well that I wouldn't be able to buy anything good. I didn't even try to buy anything. I just waited. I lived for 5 years in a rented apartment, sold my property back home, saved up some more money, and then bought a good apartment. I believe that the option I chose for myself was the better one. You really should strive to buy quality things, especially when it comes to such an expensive purchase as real estate, and not just buy whatever you can afford. Friends, my name is Dimitri. You can reach out to me with questions about immigration to Montenegro, about life in the country, and also about buying real estate. Thank you all for your attention, and goodbye.